I have a brand new Frigidaire Gallery French Door refrigerator. The condenser fan is running all the time, regardless if the compressor is running or not. The only time the fan stops is during the defrost cycle or when I manually raise the fridge and freezer temp settings to force the compressor to shut down. Even then, it usually takes 10 to 15 minutes for the condenser fan to stop. I don't believe there is a temp sensor on the condenser coils that might keep the fan running after the compressor shuts down. Is it possible the controller is programmed to keep the fan running after the compressor shuts down? Would that be a fixed time? If so, doesn't 10 to 15 minutes seem excessive?
Hello. Thank you for choosing JustAnswer. I will be helping you with your question today. This is normal on this fridge. On an older fridge, the condenser fan ran only when the compressor was running. The newer fridges are different. Then condenser fan will continue to run until the compress has reached a cool temp. I don't know the exact temp of when the condenser fan shuts off, but since the compressors on newer fridges run 90% of the time, the fan has to make sure the compressor stays cool.
The Frigidaire spec sheet for this model says the compressor runs only 32 to 40% of the time at 65 degrees with the doors closed. I have monitored it overnight and for long periods of time at 70 degrees ambient without opening the doors. The fan still runs continually. Also, the Frigidaire repairman confirmed there is no temp sensor on the condenser coils that might influence the fan run time.
Hello Bill, my name is XXXXXXXXXX. I am an authorized Electrolux service technician and I can help you today. Do you still need help with this machine?
Yes. The answer I received from the other tech does not seem consistent with my observations and research so far. Maybe the model no would help. It's a Frigidaire Gallery LGHN 2844MF4.
Just to clarify, your only concern here is that the condenser fan is running excessively? And after monitoring for about a week, you noticed on average the condenser fan staying on for about 15 minutes after the compressor shuts down? Thank you for the model number. It does help. And for the model number you have here is what I can tell you. Similarly to what the previous expert had stated, this is normal. But not normal for the cone fan to run for a period greater than 5 minutes if the temp of the compressor is within range. This style refrigerator, and most newer ones like it, have become more energy efficient. Which simply means they run less and use less energy to operate because of that. So this compressor will shut off its cooling mode and stop running about 3 to 7 times a day, if temps are within normal range. And when the compressor is running, the condenser fan will run along with it. Obviously to keep the system unit parts cool. But if while in a refrigeration cycle for a longer period of time, or if the compressor has been overworked by either skipping a defrost cycle because of poor temp in the cabinets, then the compressor's internal temp will be higher than normal. Which means simply it is hotter and overworked. So when it finally shuts down, the con fan motor will stay on for a longer period of time than normal to cool the compressor back down to a normal range. But if the compressor is within normal temps and not running excessively, then the condenser fan should shut down with the compressor. And at very most, the condenser fan motor will stay on for about 5 minutes max, if the compressor is overworked. So if your fan is staying on for a longer period of time than that, and especially if the compressor is not being overworked, then you have a problem with the electronics to the condenser fan motor. I would suggest calling Electrolux and setting up a service appointment so they can come and diagnose the problems with the machine. If the ref is under a year old, they will come out for free under the original warranty. And they will even fix the machine for free as well. And from what it sounds like here, you need a new main control. Or the wiring to the fan is compromised. Please get back to me here if you have any other questions or concerns with this machine, and I will help you more. And if this machine is over a year old and you don't have an extended warranty, then please get back to me here and I will help you diagnose the problems with this machine. And if you feel that I have helped to answer your questions, please remember to rate my performance below with OK service or better rating. And again, if you have more questions, even after rating me positively, please feel free to come back to me here at any time and ask any questions you need to. And I will answer them at no additional charge to you. Thanks.
Yes. The excessive fan time is annoying and probably wasting energy. Aside from that, the fridge seems to be working normally. The 15 minutes extra fan time is only when I force the compressor off by temporarily raising the digital temp controls. I'm not sure how much extra time it runs during normal on/off cycling of the compressor. It's almost impossible to determine when the compressor is on or off during normal operation. Based on your reply, I assume there is a sensor for compressor temp that would influence how long the condenser fan keeps running. I originally thought the controller might be bad, but now I wonder if the compressor is actually overheating and forcing the fan to run extra long. A Frigidaire repairman said was sent out by the appliance retailer. He said, "If it's keeping fresh food cold and frozen foods frozen, then don't worry about how long the fan runs." He reluctantly agreed to open the back panel and look at the condenser coils after I asked him if they might be blocked with some packing material. That's when he said there was no thermistor on the coils. However, he could not explain what the extra run time, if any, should be and what would determine that run time. He just said every controller, is different. The fridge is only 1 week old. Rather than a repair, I'm considering exchanging for another unit. I just don't look forward to the swap out.
It is greatly appreciated.
If I need more help, I hope I can find you here again. Thanks again.
You will absolutely find me here. If you need more help, just come back here and I will help you more for no additional charge. Thanks again.
I gave in and replaced the fridge with the same model from the same retailer. The new fridge actually shuts off for short periods once in a while, but still seems to run almost all the time. I put a remote thermometer in the freezer and it seems like the freezer temp is driving the cycle time. The fresh food compartment is probably about half full. I plan to load the freezer with a few bags of ice. Ice is cheap, and see if it runs less. Also, the old one seemed to defrost once or twice a day. The new one has been running for about 48 hours but has never entered a defrost cycle. The delivery guy who picked up the old unit said he's picked up a lot of those models. I also found out this model says Frigidaire, but is actually made exclusively for Lowe's. The replacement fridge has been running for a while. I've done some more checking with a borrowed power meter and here's what I've determined. 1. It appears it's not only the condenser fan that's running, but it's also the compressor that runs all the time at a low level. That low level results in a power consumption of 36 to 45 watts. 2. Now it appears the defrost cycle occurs every 6 hours, but the defrost heater, 500 watts, only runs for a very short time. For the remainder of the defrost cycle, the power consumption is around 2 watts. I thought it was an adaptive control, but it seems to run like a clock. Independent of the number of door openings, etc. The spec sheet says the ADC should defrost every 6 to 96 hours of compressor run time. 3. Following a defrost cycle, the power is usually around 105 watts. As the fridge recovers from the defrost cycle, the power gradually drops to 50 to 60 watts and eventually settles out less than 40 watts. That cycle seems to repeat over and over every 6 hours. 4. The power meter has been connected for 100 hours. Even though the compressor runs all the time, the forecast yearly power consumption is consistent with the 489 watts $52 on the Energy Guide. I'm disappointed by the constant compressor noise, but I guess I can get used to it. But I am concerned that the spec sheet says the compressor runs 32 to 40% of the time, not the 100% I experience. Should I be concerned? Do you think the fridge is working normally? Thanks in advance for your help.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit justanswer.com/ythi.